The gentleman from Kentucky reserves. The gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I yield, I would just like to respond to the gentleman from New Jersey and just read a section of this bill. It says, none of the funds made available in this act nor any unobligated balances from prior Appropriations Act may be made available to any organization or program which, as determined by the President of the United States, directly supports or participates in the management of a program of coercive abortion or involuntary sterilization, that any determination pursuant to this paragraph must be made not later than 6 months after the date of enactment of this act and must be accompanied by the evidence and criteria utilized to make the determination, provided further that none of the funds made available under this act may be used to lobby for or against abortion. Finally, I would just say that Hart Research recently conducted a poll of Americans across political spectrum, and found that over 60% of the American public supports reproductive freedom for women. I yield now to the gentlelady from California, 4 minutes, who serves as a very valued member of the SFOP subcommittee and has made tremendous input into this bill. Thank you again.
Gentlewoman from California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of this legislation and thank Congresswoman DeLauro and our Congresswoman Chairwoman Lee for her hard work and support of the priorities that I have included in this bill as it relates to the Central American region. We must ensure our aid to Central America helps the people it is intended to help and advance our policy goals, including reducing migration. My Republican colleagues yesterday noted that what we have done in the past is not working and has not worked, and I agree with them 100%. The Trump administration turned a blind eye to corruption in the region and emboldened predatory, corrupt government officials. For the last 4 years, we effectively looked at the symptoms and not at the systemic failures that forced the region's most vulnerable asset, their young people, to flee to our border. So if the Guatemalan's president, Giammattei, truly does believe in the rule of law, he should show us with his actions. Recently, they have fired Francisco Sandoval. He needs to be reinstated. Guatemalan people in Guatemala deserve a judicial sector and leaders with his credibility and advance his cases of corruption. I am so glad to report that my priorities in this bill include restricting 75% of the funding that has gone to all 3 governments of El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala to ensure that the money is actually reaching the people that it is intended. Furthermore, we have never in the past restricted or put conditions on funding to their Attorney General's office. In this bill, we have included an amendment that restricts all funding to the Attorney General. Our goal here is to reduce migration and to ensure that the young people in the region can see a future for themselves and take their governments back. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. I thank our brand new Congresswoman and her staff for the hard work that she has put before us in this committee, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. The gentlewoman from California reserves. The chair will receive a message.
Mr. Speaker, messages from the Senate.
Madam Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I have been directed by the Senate to inform the House that the Senate has passed H.R. 1002 to amend the Controlled Substances Act to